It's noon in Kyiv. I'm Natalia Sopit in the studio. You're watching Our Time, sharing the top stories of the hour. A married couple was killed in Zaporizhzhia following a Russian drone strike. Their children, girls aged 15 and 11, have been hospitalized. They are currently receiving medical care. 4 more people were also injured. The Russian drone targeted a residential area. A private home was destroyed, and the blast wave damaged nearby buildings and cars. Rescuers extinguished a fire covering an area of 50 square meters. 5 people were killed and 14 injured by Russian drones in the Donetsk region. This was reported by the National Police of Ukraine. In the village of Zaporizhzhia, an FPV drone attacked a car carrying civilians. 3 people were killed and another was wounded. 2 drones struck a volunteer vehicle in Alexeyevo-Druzhkivka and a private home. 2 people were killed and 4 others sustained injuries. Mykolaiivka was shelled 4 separate times. 5 civilians were wounded there. Apartment buildings, private homes, schools, offices, and medical facilities were damaged. Chernihiv and most of the region were left without power after a morning attack by Russia. Slavutych is also without electricity. Nearly 21,000 customers are without power. Heat and water are being supplied steadily. Critical infrastructure has been switched to backup power sources. In Chernihiv, social institutions are operating on generators. Trolley bus service has stopped, and a power facility in the Nizhyn district was damaged. Nearly 430,000 customers were left without power. Utility crews have already begun the necessary repair work. A Ukrainian delegation has arrived in Miami for talks with American officials. The team includes NSC Secretary Rustem Umerov, head of the President's Office Kirilo Budanov, Deputy Head Serhiy Kislitsia, and Servant of the People faction leader David Arakhamia. The U.S. side will be represented by White House Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and the President's son-in-law Jared Kushner. According to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, the upcoming meeting will cover a wide range of critical issues, including a potential trilateral meeting with Russia, the implementation of U.S. sanctions, peace documents, security guarantees, and the massive effort of post-war reconstruction. Other topics include the Pearl program and a drone deal, the president noted.
There are signals from the American side. Signals are coming from the American side about a readiness to continue working in existing negotiation formats to end Russia's war against Ukraine. There was a pause in negotiations. It's time to end it, and we're doing everything to make the talks truly meaningful. The Ukrainian delegation, specifically the political part of the negotiating group, is already on its way. This Saturday, we expect meetings in the United States of America. We discussed the negotiations in detail with Rustem Umerov, Kirilo Budanov, and David Arakhamia. Serhiy Kislitsia will also take part in the meetings. Our priority is to do everything possible for a dignified peace. I thank everyone who's helping with this.
A new round of negotiations in the Ukraine-Russia-U.S. format was supposed to take place from March 5th to 9th in Abu Dhabi. This was prevented by a joint U.S.-Israeli operation against the Iranian regime, which began on February 28th. Iran is now launching strikes against all Persian Gulf countries, including the UAE. On March 18th, Ukraine's foreign ministry reported that negotiating teams communicate daily, but meetings are needed for progress. Washington is considering reducing its military presence in the Middle East after achieving its goals regarding Iran. U.S. President Donald Trump announced this on the social network Truth Social. According to him, the U.S. is very close to completing its tasks and allows for the winding down of military operations. Trump noted that countries in the region should take responsibility for the security of the Strait of Hormuz. While the U.S. is ready to help allies if necessary, it doesn't plan to perform this role permanently. He also emphasized that the key task remains preventing the development of nuclear potential.
We are very close to achieving our goals. as we consider winding down our massive military efforts in the Middle East against Iran's terrorist regime. If asked, we will assist these countries in their efforts in the Strait of Hormuz. But that won't be necessary once the Iranian threat is eradicated. Donald Trump, U.S. President, on Truth Social.
The U.S. has temporarily authorized the sale of Iranian oil. As Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent reported, this refers to crude oil already on tankers at sea. The total volume's about 140 million barrels. The license, valid until April 19th, will allow the oil to be quickly brought to the global market. The decision aims to reduce the impact of the Middle East conflict on supplies. Well, new purchases and production are not permitted. Restrictions on access to the international financial system remain in place.
The Treasury Department is issuing a highly specialized short-term authorization that will allow the sale of Iranian oil currently stuck at sea. Essentially, we'll use Iranian barrels against Tehran to keep prices low and continue Operation Epic Fury. Currently, the Donald Trump administration is working to bring an additional 440 million barrels of oil to the global market. This way, we can undermine Iran's ability to use its actions in the Strait of Hormuz as leverage. Scott Bessent, U.S. Treasury Secretary, on social network X.
The Philippines has purchased Russian oil for the first time in 5 years, seeking to secure fuel amid supply issues caused by the escalation in the Middle East. This is reported by the Moscow Times, citing industry sources. Manila turned to Moscow for oil volumes after the U.S. issued a 30-day permit to purchase sanctioned petroleum products from Russia. A tanker carrying approximately 750,000 barrels of oil shipped from the far eastern port of Kosmino will arrive at Lemay Port between March 23rd and 25th. The cargo is destined for the country's largest oil refinery, Bataan. For the first time, Iran has attacked a U.S. and British base in the middle of the ocean with medium-range ballistics. This is reported by the Wall Street Journal, citing American officials. The Diego Garcia base is located about 4,000 kilometers from Iran. As the publication writes, this strike means that Tehran may possess longer-range missiles than it previously admitted. Recall that Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi previously claimed that Iran intentionally limited the missile's range to 2,000 kilometers, as it doesn't want to be perceived as a threat. Iraq has declared force majeure in the oil industry, Reuters writes. The decision concerns the oil fields of foreign companies. The reason was the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, a key route for transporting raw materials, through which, I'll remind you, about 20% of the world's oil and liquefied gas supplies pass. Ship movement in the region has stopped, and oil exports from Iraq have almost ceased. The country's storage facilities are full, but it's currently impossible to export the raw materials. The Iraqi Ministry of Oil has ordered a halt to production. Germany has simplified the export of defense systems. This is reported by the Tons. The authorities have introduced a so-called Green Corridor mechanism for the export of air and naval defense systems. Now, an acceleration of IRIS-T system deliveries is expected. Previously, every single part required a separate permit, which significantly delayed the process. The new mechanism introduces a general license. It'll be valid until September 2026. And Ukraine has been added to the list of countries. The Gulf states are also included. Among them are Saudi Arabia and the UAE.